When a person takes off the limitations of how much he should give for charity, and how much time he should have for learning Torah, and how much time he should have for davening, prayer, so then he removes, he nullifies the medidas v'agbolas of world, because then, b'derech memela, since he is taking off the limitations in kedusha, and in sacred matters, so it also accomplishes that the limitations of the world itself are also removed. Shakodish Baruch Hu Neisen Leime Yodei Amleya Apsucha Hagdesha Varchova. L'mayla Medida Magbala, the Eibishter gives from a full hand, an open hand, a holy hand, and a broad hand, higher than limitations. Which means that because he initiated it in his Aveda of not taking into consideration limitations of Kedusha, means doing more than required, although Shulchan Aruch says it's enough for tzedakah, for charity, enough for time for learning, it's enough time for davening. So he does not satisfy himself, he goes beyond the required. So this accomplishes that the limitations of world are removed, and the Neila, the Eibishter gives them higher than the limitations. And as the Rebbe mentions in a Sikha, that Miyodei Hamleya Apsucha Desha Varchava relates to the 4 letters of Shem Havaya, of Yud Kei Vav Kei. The 4 letters of Shem Havaya. Well, there's the famous word from the Rebbe mentioned it many times, numerous times. Hakdesha, in the Siddur of the Baal Shem Tov, it would say Hakdesha with a Gimel. What is the difference? Hakdesha means holy. Hakdesha with a Gimel means Gedusha, that it pours over. Godush, Moli v'Godush. Moli means full, Godush means it pours over. And that's why it says also in Halacha, in Kiddush, by Kiddush, so we pour over the cost. So from Kiddusha, the word is Kedosha with a Gimel. Kedosha means that it's Godush, that the Eibishter gives over the limitations of the vessel itself. And as Chassidus, as the Gemara brings it, it's mentioned in the Rambam, that when a person, in the Beis Hamikdash, there were different measurements. So B'Shas it came to dry measurements. They would say Hamidas. The dry measurements, so they had a certain, the mincha, whatever, all the things they used was up to the lip of the vessel. When it came to liquid, it was called Berutzi Hamidas, that it pours over also. It was Godush. So it's supposed to be Moli v'Godush, full. And that's the inyan that by the Kiddush cup when we fill it, by the Avdollah cup we pour over also, not just, we leave it full. And this is also related to a story that's told b'negia to one of the Rebbe's secretaries. Vashasi was once by the Rebbe's house, and he made Kiddush. And he didn't, and in those years it wasn't familiar, the Rebbe didn't speak yet that Sikha, it was in the 80s, that the Rebbe mentioned it, that it should be, the cost should be pouring over the limitation of the cost. So the Rebbe said, by us, our custom is that we also pour over. In other words, you make sure that some goes out of the cost. And as the Rebbe mentioned in the Fabrengen, it doesn't mean that it's like an Avdollah. The same way that we do it in Avdollah, the same way we do it by Kiddush. So the Rebbe said, it doesn't mean he has to pour it off and pull, the Rebbe said the lotion on the floor. But there's a plate under it that catches it. But this shows that it's higher than the limitation. Anything that goes out from the cost shows that it comes l'chatchila from a higher level. Chassidus explains there are 3 different examples that are given b'negia to something that comes from very high, comes down very low. One is relates to light, revelation. One relates to water. One relates to rakia, which is a more stabilized substance. Eir, the example for Eir is a torch. There's a difference between a torch and a candle. A candle has a certain light, a certain limited light. And when the candle has the light could reach only to a certain distance. A torch, because it is a greater light, greater flame, therefore the light could reach further on. Which this shows whatever is higher, with this we can understand, whatever is higher falls lower, reaches out, extends further. The second marshal is the inyan of Mayim. Mayim is that water, which is also the same thing, that when a person has a certain, the dish is filled, so it's filled. Shasi puts in a little more, so this little more already reaches out of the keli. What does it mean, a little more? A little more means that it comes, a This means that something that comes from a higher mokeh, so we can extend out further. Because it has this energy and this potential that it's not limited, restricted within a certain area, therefore it could extend out further than the regular perimeters. This is also connected actually with the union of dibur. Dibur, the speech of a person. So the keach dibur comes from the keach of the nefesh. In a sense, it's higher than seichel. As the Alter Rebbe explains it in Geras HaKedesh, Siman Hey, that the Ashias, it's not that the person is thinking, oh, I'm saying a comment, I'm closing my mouth. I'm saying a Pesach, I open my mouth. Which are taka the spheres, and komets means nikmotzin, the lips close. Pesach means they open. But the word is that the chatchila is like higher than the inyan of seichel. So Chassidus explains that this etzem inyan, that it's higher than seichel, this in itself gives an explanation why this tool is used to open up to the world around a person. This is the first opening, a relationship that a person has with the outside world. He is talking to someone else. When he's speaking, for example, when he's thinking about something, the other person doesn't know. He knows he's thinking about something, but he doesn't know about what. On the other hand, when a person says something, this is when he begins relating to somebody outside of him. How is it that this tool, which is speech, is used for something outside of him, and lower than him, he's speaking to the outside world? The answer is it comes from a higher source. And therefore, it doesn't have any limitations, that it's limited within him, but it can actually also reach and expand beyond him, outside of him. This is the union of Dibur.